video, we will do a deep dive into the master and drug grid to learn how they are used in the DC Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines. My name is Brittany Bunch, and I'm the Outreach Specialist for the DC Sentencing Commission. We are the agency that implements, monitors, and supports the application of the District of Columbia Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines. In our previous video, we talked about the calculation of criminal history scores, offense severity, and other factors that affect sentencing. Be sure to check out that video if you haven't already. If you're interested in learning more about the master and drug grid and how they relate to the DC Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines, then you'll enjoy this video. Keep watching. The DC Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines provide sentencing recommendations that are organized in a grid format. They provide DC Superior Court judges with felony sentencing recommendations that are based on the severity of the illegal act and the criminal history of the individual being sentenced. The guidelines also include standards, rules, adjustments, and exceptions that provide guidance to the court in imposing a sentence that meets the objective of sentencing. We'll first start off by talking about the master and drug grid. These two grids house the recommended sentencing ranges for all felony offenses recognized in the district. We will get into that portion shortly. I know the question that's on your mind. Why are there two grids? During the creation of the guidelines, the Commission found different historical sentencing patterns for drug and non-drug offenses. With this in mind, the Commission created two grids to ensure consistency and fairness. The drug grid, which houses all felony drug offenses, and the master grid, which houses all felony non-drug offenses. We'll start with the master grid. The master grid is composed of two axes. The x-axis houses the criminal history score columns organized A through E. The grid also features a y-axis that contains 9 master groups. These master groups rank the most common offenses by severity level. The same design is seen on the drug grid. However, the y-axis on the drug grid only contains 4 drug groups instead of the 9 groups on the master grid. For a more detailed explanation of offense severity group and criminal history score, click the link below. An individual's criminal history score and the severity of the convicted offense will determine the sentence type and length that is recommended for that individual. Both grids house individual boxes which contain sentencing ranges. Before we continue with the grids, let's discuss the different dispositional sentences. There are 3 types of dispositional sentences: prison sentence, short split sentence, and probation sentence. A prison sentence is permissible in all of the boxes. If an individual's sentence falls within the dark gray boxes, it is permissible to have a portion of the sentence suspended. If an individual's sentence falls within the light gray boxes, it is permissible to receive probation or split sentence. Along the left side of the offense severity groups, you will see the number of criminal history points that are associated with prior convictions for offenses in each group. So, for example, someone who has a prior robbery conviction will have a criminal history score of 2 points. In an upcoming video, we will explore how to calculate criminal history score. Now let's bring this all together with an example. Steve is being sentenced for assault with a deadly weapon, which is a Master Group 6 or M6 offense. Steve has a prior conviction for attempted robbery and a prior conviction for felony theft. Therefore, he has a criminal history score of 2, which will land him in Criminal History Group C. The guidelines recommended sentence for Steve is at the intersection where the two axes meet, which is a prison sentence as indicated by the white shaded box. That is between 30 to 72 months. Along with the two grids, the manual contains other resources that assist judges. The manual features a variety of explanations and examples which illustrate how to properly calculate criminal history scores, as well as other factors judges may consider if they choose to depart from a recommended sentencing range. In addition, the manual features a glossary and a frequently asked questions section. The appendix of the guideline manual is of special importance as it houses a variety of resources that assist judges. The full list of resources can be seen on this screen. Judges primarily rely on these guidelines to assist in imposing sentences. Keep in mind that the guidelines are completely voluntary, meaning judges do not need to impose the recommended sentence or even follow the guidelines rules. Additionally, even if a judge utilizes the guidelines when imposing a sentence, they can still choose to depart from the recommended sentencing range by selecting one of the 22 mitigating or aggravating factors. Some of the most common reasons for imposing a sentence outside of the recommended range, called departure factors, are listed in the appendix as well. The Commission will be releasing a new issue paper on departures in the summer of 2022. The Commission assists judges with the application of the voluntary sentencing guidelines. This is done through direct support and by hosting guidelines trainings and providing reference material. The Commission pursues activities that further its mission to implement, monitor, and support the district's voluntary sentencing guidelines, as well as to promote fair and consistent sentencing policies. We strive to increase the public's understanding of sentencing policies and practices, as well as evaluate the effectiveness of the guidelines in order to recommend changes that are based on actual sentencing and corrections practice and research. The public is encouraged to contact the Commission with any inquiries about the guidelines or questions concerning training opportunities. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All you have to do is click on the subscribe button below this video. Also, be sure to check out our website at scdc.dc.gov and follow us on our social media accounts. Links are in the description box below. Stay tuned for our next video. We will be exploring the DC felony sentencing process. Now I want to turn it over to you. If there are any topics you would like for us to cover in upcoming videos, let us know by leaving a comment. Thank you for watching.